The Ghost Rider situation.
Right, explain to me why we're doing this, 'cause I don't really know. You just said that it never recorded well.
There's like technical issues and that.
Are you saying it like that for?
No,
like,
I'm just looking at the
no,
window.
but like what happened? It's just like because like we recorded the episode and it was all good to go, and
Aye, bitrate issues or so.
bitrate issues.
Aye, you know.
What are you doing?
My mic was backwards the whole time, Ryan.
What?
The whole time we were recording, my mic was backwards and I didn't realise. Do you remember we stopped the recording and I was constantly like, why does this sound so muffled?
Aye.
It had a quality of sounding like somebody was talking into the back of a microphone. It turns out it was, Ryan. My microphone was backwards the whole time.
So hold on. We were talking for like nearly 2 hours.
Yeah.
You were talking into the back of your microphone.
So let's give away a little bit of behind the scenes of Eedjit Features. There's a running joke my co-host here has with my wife. My wife will walk in when we're recording and say, why the f*** is it so dark in here? I favour ambience. You favour
Light.
clarity, technical recordings. I'm sorry, Ryan.
You do like to light some candles, make it a bit romantic.
You don't need to give that away, man.
Some scented candles.
I like a meatloaf video like anybody else.
Fit any meatloaf in your room.
I will apologise, however, to your wonderful wife and your children, of whose time I took away from them as you came and recorded the podcast
Whose
for
time you
4 hours.
fucking wasted.
Stop! I'm sorry. The Ghost Rider situation. What went wrong? We are using cardioid mics. It was in the dark and my mic was turned backwards the whole time. And we stopped and I was like, why does it sound like this? Let's play it back and listen. Everything we adjusted, just not the mic.
You spent like half an hour on the set.
I did. Give that away as well, mate. Thank you so much. Thank you. Listen.
Is it the filters?
Oh.
Is it the this? Is it the that?
Oh, you were writing quotes at the time, I see you as well, aye?
You unplugged it, you plugged it back in, you turned it on and off
Too
again.
much, man. You're giving away too much here.
Right, so you've spoken in the back of your microphone, which is why the episode is...
It's not unusable, it's just not up to our usual standard. I need to run it through some filter. I need to run it through some software and do some fixes. It will be out at a later time because I thought it was a really good episode. This is the Marvel Retrospective! Years of Marvel, Ryan?
That's fucking nuts, man.
15 years, that's crazy.
That's just the MCU, not Marvel in general. Aye. Is that including the old ones that we've covered, like the Fantastic Fours and the Ghost Riders?
Strictly launching with Iron Man, new MCU.
Okay, cool.
So, same year you've got The Incredible Hulk, which I kind of liked.
It was an okay movie. It was totally fine. Of Edward Norton in the role.
Yeah.
It's a shame what happened with the whole... I don't know what happened. Was it he wanted more money or something?
I think so, yeah. So, I've got this sort of in bullet points, okay? We're going to talk about Guardians 3. Top 5 Marvel movies. And we're going to end with where are you with this stuff. Does that work?
Yeah, totally.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I want to talk about it.
You're right, okay, you saw it before me, you saw it the opening weekend. I was about a week later. You kind of refused to tell me anything about it. Not that I was asking you, because I didn't want spoilers, but you...
I didn't want to talk about it, man.
You got weirdly... what's the word? Weirdly quiet.
Yeah.
Weirdly emotional talking about it. So, we haven't spoke yet about the movie. Let's do it now. Briefly, as spoiler free as possible.
No coconuts, just a quick wee conversation.
I'll say this, I'll get my opinion first. I think you've got a lot more to say about this movie than I do. Totally liked it. Thought it's better than the second. One of my favourite Marvel movies. Don't think I loved it as much as you did. It didn't affect me. I think it affected you and other people. There was definitely sad moments where I almost teared up, but I didn't cry. I didn't almost bawl. There was one bit, it's hard to speak about without talking about spoilers, but there's one bit where a character returns to where they've been, kind of thing, and finds out who they are.
Oh, don't.
Yeah, they look up on a sign basically, and it has information written on sort of the side of a wall. That's as vague as I can keep it. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That moment did get to me because I was like, oh man, that's fucking kind of beautiful. And then they say their own name kind of at the end, which was a nice wee bit. But, you know, totally good movie. Enjoyed the fuck out of it. I'll see it again. I'm trying. It's really difficult to talk about actually without talking about spoilers because it's such a recent movie.
I'm
so
going to
about
mention some things because it is out there now, and this is.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while. It's been about a month or so since it's been out, so it's not too. And I guess if you're listening to this, you've probably seen it already.
You knew me when I first saw this franchise launch.
I remember.
We were working together when this franchise first launched, and I wasn't prepared for it at all. Repeat viewings, I fell in love with these characters. This film does bookend a particular part of the story that I am invested in, and I just thought it was incredible, but I won't be back to see it. I will buy Guardians 3 and it will sit on my shelf and I'll always look at it and never watch it, or I'll always want to watch it, but I won't be able to. The animal stuff in it, I am so glad James Gunn did it. I read those stories. I always wondered if they would do it and how would they do it, and I always knew they would because we saw the back of Rocket. Eventually we would get the payoff, but to see it and to see how he blocked it, how he lit it, he was doing something deliberate. And Baby Rocket's first words are hurts. Like that's a lot.
Yeah. I see. This is what I'm going to sound like a cold-hearted bastard.
Ryan.
The animal stuff, I think it was so. By you and by other people who'd been like, oh man, if you're going to this movie, just watch yourself. There's a lot of animal cruelty. Be prepared and stuff. So I was like sitting there expecting like Schindler's List type cruelty. And don't get me wrong, there is a lot of it, but I think it's just so that right. Okay, so the animals that are being sort of experimented on, tortured, are so kind of.
They're anime. It's anime.
So kind of dumb looking.
Oh no!
See, is it a bunny rabbit or a dog? It's like a spider. It's got big animatronic spider's legs.
Floor. It's a rabbit.
I get that it's horrifying, but I guess they also look very CGI. The effect, the emotional detachment was easier because I'm like, it's such CGI.
If you saw it first, would you have a debate with yourself if you were to take one of your children?
Oh no, I wouldn't take the kids to see this.
You find it's just it's a mature story, this one.
It's a mature story, and like I've seen enough like gore and bad shit that I can like not desensitized, like, but I'm not going to take my 5-year-old to see like when I couldn't get tortured, like, because they don't get the difference. They don't get that it's CGI and fake. Like they might think it's real. For example, perfect example. I took my daughter to see Super Mario. I thought it's Super Mario, and there's a bit in it where Luigi's falling out his cage, like he's locked up and he falls out of a cage and he's falling in towards lava. Now you know just movie logic dictates, like it's almost an instinct that somebody's going to swoop in and save him. They're not going to have the main protagonist fall into lava and die. But like the 5-year-old sitting beside me, she's like, oh no, she grabs my arm, she's like, oh no, Luigi, because she doesn't know that of course somebody's going to save him. But she just thinks he's in peril, he's actually in peril. So like it's taking her to see this and seeing this, so she's not going to know that it's a film and it's fake and they'll get revenge on the bad guy at the end. She'll just see the horror and think that's what it is.
You mentioned it there. It redeems itself because ultimately the Guardians come together to get revenge for their little friend.
Yeah, exactly. Not just the little friend, I mean it's everybody else. There's also a bunch of other people. Again, this is kind of spoilery, but it's not just Rocket that's been tortured. There's a whole...
I'll go into that, is that okay?
Yeah.
A very strong movie. It was impactful on me, and I'm glad it was.
Yeah, totally.
A really cool movie.
Top 5. What, ASMR?
5.
Nah, don't make it sexy. That's weird.
Top 5.
That's just wanking noises at the end.
What? How do you do that? That's
Well, no, I guess. I'm trying to picture the noises. Have you ever done that? Never do that. Fucking calm down, man. Some carpet burn. 5. Now, I'm going to start out with the Avengers, first Avengers Assemble movie.
Okay.
Not necessarily the movie, I think there has been better movies since, but that was just a fun movie to go see in the cinema. There wasn't too many at this point, it wasn't overblown, there wasn't all these different timelines, it was just, we've had Iron Man, we've had Thor movies, we've had Captain America movies, they're coming together to fight a big bad, and that was it. It wasn't too overly complicated, it was just a big, good summer blockbuster action film. It was just a lot of fun. And yeah, they did start introducing the Infinity Stones and stuff at that point, but we never really knew about that. So it just was a simple, fun, great movie to watch.
To see all of those people on screen together as well.
I mean, it's been totally parodied and redone and copied since, but you know, it's that moment that everybody talks about where they all sort of land on screen and it circles around the camera and you can see them all standing back to back.
A very special moment in film.
Now it's kind of taking the piss out of, but at the time in the cinema, that was fucking so cool. 5!
Iron Man 3, 2013. Shane Black adds his buddy cop dynamic and adds this post-traumatic stress element, which blows my mind. Tony is haunted by the visions of what he's seen in the Battle for New York, and it's incredible. Mm-hmm. It suddenly adds this weight to it, and I don't think Downey Jr. has ever been this good. Guy Pearce is also one of the more memorable villains in the entire series. I think this is a brilliant film.
I've got Logan.
Cool.
Not part of the MCU, strictly speaking, if we're doing that.
I'll take it, okay. I didn't go down that road, but I accept it. I like that. Go for it.
Just like, it was a shot in the arm that I think the X-Men franchise needed, because those, I don't know, you may have a different opinion, but those like Days of Future Past, Carry On movies, they got a bit silly and daft for me. I never really, Dark Phoenix and all that, Carry On, I just wasn't into it. But then Logan came around and it was totally stripped back to just this amazing action movie with a brilliant story and a good heart, and it didn't go all time travelling and all this.
It's a drama,
incredibly violent drama.
Washed up superhero that drinks, that's looking after the guy that took a chance on him and driving a limousine. Wow.
Yeah, and some great gritty action scenes. Like, you can't really ask for much more, so I love that movie.
Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Wow.
2021.
Wow.
Ryan, I was big on it. We let this go for a little bit. We went one Sunday afternoon. I wasn't expecting too much and I was blown away. Michelle Yeoh, Tony Leung.
Great cast.
Phenomenal choreography. A nice contained story, and it's so much freaking fun. I think Simu Liu.
Yep. I hope you actually say his name yet.
I think Simu Liu is one of the most exciting stars on the roster, and I think he was the embodiment of cool in this. I really like his rapport with Awkwafina, and I like that they're just buds.
Yeah, I do like that.
It's so cool. Just two friends, and that's it.
Yep.
Even though every other character's trying to get them together. I really like that. This felt a little on the outside of the larger picture, and I really like that too. I wasn't hugely into the Ben Kingsley character in Iron Man 3, but in this I thought it was hilarious as Trevor. The scenes in Ta Lo with the creatures had me totally mesmerised.
I agree with most of the things you've said there. However, that movie never left a big impression on me. Like, I seen it, I thought it was alright, and then I just sort of forgot about it. I've got Captain America Winter Soldier. I thought this would have been higher.
This was my number 3.
Really?
I took it off the top 5 entirely once I rewatched it.
Oh, see, well, this is the big difference between me and you. I have not rewatched this movie.
My wife fell asleep in the cinema watching this.
Oh, did she?
That's
because it's not a big action hero movie, it's a spy movie.
Espionage thriller with Robert Redford in that scene with Samuel L. Jackson in the car. Why did I take it off?
I just thought, I mean, maybe it's the espionage stuff, because my favourite video game is like Metal Gear Solid, and this felt like a sort of Metal Gear Solid Splinter Cell. You
will do anything in the world to mention Metal Gear Solid every episode of a movie podcast.
Damn right I will.
I'm dreading doing a Kurt Russell film.
Oh, I can't wait. Skate Fair Way, we're doing it. So, it was a great film, good spy film. I liked the fact that it wasn't, I'm going to say it wasn't daft, but it was daft. I mean, the whole concept is so weird, but I like that it's like a war espionage movie that could totally have worked without superheroes, It just happened to have superheroes in it. I remember at the cinema, at the time when I was in the cinema watching it, being like, this is the best Marvel movie ever. And it probably was up until that point, I think.
Spider-Man Homecoming, 2017. Finally, a kid plays Peter, and it means everything to the franchise. Absolutely everything. Tom Holland is a great Peter Parker, and I thought he really shook it up at the time. It's stunt casting, absolutely. Having Keaton play the Vulture, but it works. To see a kid at the stakes of this whole thing is just so exciting. You believe he is just a kid looking after his city.
Yeah.
I only wish they delayed him going to space for another 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, I know.
That image was so... I've never really enjoyed Spider-Man in space.
No, it doesn't work. To me, Spider-Man only works in New York.
Yeah.
It's his playground. He should be zooming around big historical landmarks in New
Exactly.
York. With that being said, though, you're right, totally right. Tom Holland is excellent.
Just stick to PS2 Spider-Man rules. You don't go out the bounds of NYC.
Aye, and you can't swim, don't go in the water.
You can't swim, Spider-Man.
Aye, you deliver that pizza within 30 seconds.
You'd get that wee Wayne's balloon.
That's right. The Guardians of the Galaxy. The first one. My favourite of the Guardians movies. I had no expectation going into it because I didn't read Guardians and I'm going to pretend that I knew about them beforehand. I kind of knew, I've heard of the characters. I'd heard of like Dax the Destroyer and I'd heard of Rocket Raccoon just because it's so silly. I'd be talking raccoon, that's never going to work. With a daft tree, like that's so stupid. Why would you make a movie with that? So going in with no expectations, I think helped. But coming out and seeing it and fucking loving every character and every moment and every scene and every joke, everything just landed and worked. Even like Chris Pratt. At the time, he was nobody. He was the funny guy for Parks and Rec, and then he came out this big buff fucking hunky guy who was funny and charming. We knew that already, but he was also worked as an action star, and it felt like the birth of a new action star at the time.
And he played it kind of like a loser as well. Nobody took him serious, but he thought he was the coolest on the planet. That's what Marvel's kind of missing.
Totally. Obviously the soundtrack, that's kind of became the whole crux of the 3 movies, but like the soundtrack at the time was amazing. The fact that they played on it, it's the beautiful scene where Groot sort of sacrifices himself like to save everybody. Like it's just, I get why people say it's like a new generation of Star Wars. It's not the same as Star Wars, but it's like to people who went around when Star Wars was a big deal, this was theirs because it's like a cast of what you call it? A cast of misfits, yes. Thrown together in space, going adventures. Like it's dead simple concept, but it's very hard to do well, and they done it, fucking nailed it. So, aye, Guardians.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, 2017. I remember feeling like I could throw up before this screening. I was just so excited to see where we would go with this band of intergalactic misfits. I remember my jaw hitting the floor as they prepare for an all-out war with the Abelisks, and we suddenly pull focus to the smallest character in the team as they dance to Mr. Blue Sky, and the action takes place almost entirely out of focus and secondary to little Groot dancing, in so many ways summarising the entire series in one scene. Kurt Russell as Ego was tremendous. The addition of Pom Klementieff as Mantis was so inspired. In so many ways, she has become the heart of that team, and she came in late. That is so cool.
Yep.
I also think Yondu's funeral is one of the most beautiful scenes ever put to film. Pete is given an entirely new catalogue of music in the form of a Zune, a great joke, and plays Cat Stevens' father and son as he holds baby Groot and lets him listen. As Pete reflects on his relationship, both with Yondu, his surrogate father, who he's just lost, and Peter's own role as the father of the Guardians. We cut to Rocket as he watches Yondu's tribute, and a single tear rolls down the grumpy trash panda's cheek, and we cut to black. Credits. Wow. I thought it was a tremendous sequel, and even talking about it now, I'm like...
I thought so too, and you know what the funny thing was? When I first seen it, I didn't notice these things, and rewatching it, like... the way that Rocket seen himself as an outcast like Yondu was, like the bond and relationship that they had, totally makes the third one even better as well, knowing what he feels like.
It has purpose, Ryan.
Yeah, and even the wee scenes and that you maybe didn't pick up first time mean something later on, so it's totally... one of the best trilogies, I think, one of the most complete trilogies. Like, everybody's, like, some trilogies, there's Godfather 1, 2, and then there's Godfather 3, nobody likes. Do you know what I mean? There's always that one, but I think Guardians is pretty solid. What would you say? All three of them?
What do you think?
Aye, well, I suppose.
It's one of my favourite trilogies of all time.
Yeah, I would agree with that. One! Right, number one. Right, I haven't outside the MCU again because I didn't know we'd do that.
Excellent,
I
cool.
went Spider-Man 2.
Cool, that technically now counts.
Yeah.
Masterpiece, sir.
My thing about most superhero movies back before the MCU, and even done this in Iron Man, is the whole half an hour to 45 minutes of the origin story usually does my nutting. So the fact that we're in Spider-Man 2, we got the origin story out the way in the first one, which is still a great movie, by the way. Spider-Man 2, for me, is just like, right, he's Spider-Man now. He's got his powers. We already know the deal. Uncle Ben, you get bit by a spider, blah, blah, blah. Let's just get right into it.
It hits the ground and moves.
And it's so good. It's just like, it's a perfect, not just a perfect comic book movie, but it is just a perfect action movie. It's got a good, fast pace. It's funny. It's charming when it needs to be. It's got a fantastic villain. I think Dr. Octopus is probably the best villain.
It helps with that performance. He is terrific in it.
Exactly. That's my thing. So, like, we spoke about Fantastic Four and how good, oh God, I forgot his name, Joey McMahon was as Doctor Doom. But he's in a bad movie, or at least an average movie, Fantastic Four. If Doctor Doom, Joey McMahon, was like in this Spider-Man movie, like, which is a much better movie, it would have been like incredible.
I think that's a great comment.
Do you know what I mean? So I think that
it needed the right director and
Yeah.
the right team behind it.
Yeah, so I think given that, Doctor Doom could have been the best villain, and still could be if they bring him back. But I don't think it's been beat. Like, I know, like, Thanos and all the rest of it has come out, but for me, just
They still try and do this with each villain. They still try and add in empathy, and it's never been
doesn't
done like
work.
this.
Yep.
This is phenomenal.
Yeah. They tell the story so well, and they also tell the story like how Peter's struggling to balance the whole. Okay, I'll give it points off for like Tobey Maguire trying to balance school and being a superhero when he's clearly 40 years old, right? But like, the only if this was like not Tom Holland, because Tobey Maguire I think is excellent in these movies.
Yes.
He just looks older. That's the only downside, is just the way he looks.
So does every teen
I know,
show at the
it's
time.
not his fault.
It's America's fault. It's
Yeah, it's not his
the
fault.
industry's fault.
But he's really, really good in it. I could watch this movie. Like, that train scene, I know it's been done to death now, but like edge your seat stuff, like in the cinema watching it.
Not only is the scene fantastic, but the end of that scene is the best way you do the New York crowd stuff.
Yeah, because they don't all start clapping and stuff. Like, they take him in, they see that he's just a kid. Although that line, he's just a kid, I'm like, is he fuck?
It still hits me.
Of course.
I totally, the way they delicately hold their
Yeah.
hero's body, and
And they just give him the mask back and just like accept it. They
no,
don't like.
no one takes a photo. No one.
See, now if that was a modern day MC movie, it'd be undercut with some joke. Somebody come in, can I get a selfie?
Or the joke would be someone lifts a phone and one of the other people does that to it and lowers the phone.
Oh, that's
you
you're
can
totally
envision
right.
that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. So that's a fantastic movie.
Yeah, I love Spider-Man 2. I love all those. Well, not 3, but 1 and 2 are excellent.
There's still stuff in it.
3 has potential, but I just don't know what he was thinking. Anyway, 1.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2014.
I'm not surprised at all.
I watched this 21 times in the cinema, almost as if I had to confirm how incredible it was each time. I had only read a little of the Guardians like yourself before going in, and when I saw it, I needed scooped up from the floor, Ryan. I was a kid watching Star Wars again. You said that. Here's this band of misfits that no one else wants. They choose to do bad because they can't see any good in themselves, and by the end, what they really needed was each other. The family dynamics in this series totally kills me. An orphan from Earth, a warrior assassin, a destroyer with a heart of gold, a talkative tree, and a troublemaking genius of a little raccoon. I obviously fell in love with Rocket. And the bookends of his treatment in this world both break my heart and fill me with so much joy as I know how he overcomes his own tortured place in this world and recognises his own self-worth. There are the hands that make us, and there are the hands that guide the hands. when Rocket is revived in part 3, he tells them to save the higher life forms. And during this scene, Rocket finds a cage of raccoons. He sees where they are from, like you mentioned, and recognises his place in the world and himself in Lila's words. He asks the Guardians to save them all. And I'm crying. A very important franchise to me.
Yeah. I knew that.
You're laughing at me.
No, I'm not laughing. I'm just. I thought I was going to jump in. I didn't know when to jump in, so I was just waiting. I totally agree with what you said. That scene where he sees the cage and it says his origins and stuff, and he gets all the little baby raccoons and they're all over him. It's amazing, and the fact that it says species raccoon,
place of origin Northern America, species raccoon.
Yeah,
and he knows who he is.
And then at the end of it, when he says his name is Rocket. He calls himself Rocket Raccoon. He refers to himself as a raccoon for the first time ever, because through the thing, every time somebody calls him a raccoon, he gets offended. I'm not a raccoon.
Everyone has used a derogatory term to describe Rocket.
Yeah. And
he has never known what he is.
Yeah.
So he's defensive about it.
Yeah.
But he knows they're being derogative.
Yeah.
And suddenly he sees this. He sees that he can save these creatures, and he's proud to be a raccoon.
Yeah.
And it reflects in the shot, I don't know if you remember, with the higher power getting in and taking him.
Grabbing him.
And suddenly Rocket's the saviour. Oof, I can't talk about it anymore. I adore that franchise.
Yeah, great franchise.
So when people talk negatively about Marvel, Ryan, I still have that, and I need to be grateful for that.
Well, this leads us on to our next thing, right?
Where are we at with Marvel?
Yeah, because I've looked at my top 5 here, and 2 of my top 5 aren't even technically MCU movies. I've got Spider-Man and Logan. 2 years are Guardian movies.
That's just our own perspectives.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is I think I speak for you when I say that the overall big story of these Marvel movies, I don't really care at all anymore.
I mostly just think some of them they're no for me, but I don't want involved in this debate because there's a lot of hatred that goes with it.
I don't care about the debate, but what I mean is I want to go and see a movie for however long it is, a 90-minute movie or a 3-hour movie, and enjoy that. I don't want to be like, oh, this will be good in 4 movies' time and this makes sense. I liked that at first. I remember seeing, was it the end of Iron Man when we see Thor's hammer? Is Iron Man at the end of that, and it teases the first end credit sequence?
End of Incredible Hulk is the Avengers are assembling. End of Iron Man is the hammer.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. They're going to do a 4 movie and it's going to link to this, and the time that was so exciting.
Back in 2008, that was really exciting.
That's what I'm saying, but now it's 15 years later,
and
we've had 30 Marvel movies. 30? Round about, I don't know if it's exactly on the button 30, but
and we are now in a nostalgic Easter egg world.
Yeah, and I'm sick of Easter eggs, to be honest. I like Easter eggs being really cute and obscure. I don't want to just sit knowing that at the end of this movie I need to sit through the credits just to see something.
Yeah.
That might make sense in 6 years' time.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember, I don't know which movie it was, but the one where they introduced that showed you Scarlet Witch and her brother.
Age of Ultron,
and being like,
see if you can't properly name them, don't use the characters.
Yeah, totally. So basically, I'll still go and see most Marvel movies. That being said, I haven't seen Black Panther, Wakanda Forever yet, and I haven't seen the new Ant-Man movie. I don't even know what it's called. Quantum Physics, yes. Quantum Mania. I'll see them when they're on Disney Plus. They're on Disney Plus now, and I will watch them eventually, but I'm in no rush. It used to be like an event. The new Marvel movie came out, you went to see it in the cinema. There's just too many of them now. They've got this TV shows and the spin-offs and the little specials. I like the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas specials and the little I Am Groot shorts, but again, that's because I like those characters. I like Guardians. It's not because I want to see how that ties into some other franchise. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I sound like a pitch because I'm complaining there's too much content, whereas we used to live in the world where there was not enough comic book stuff.
I remember the world, it was just on paper.
All we had was the Judge Dredds. Yeah. All we had was the Fantastic Four movie or the Ghost Rider, and that was we
had the Blank Mans. There was the rougher stuff as well, but we took whatever superhero content we could get,
and now there's just too much of it, and I feel bad for complaining, but it's just I'm not going to watch it all. I've not got time to watch all that. I'm only going to pick and choose the ones that I want to see. Like Guardians 3, I wanted to see it because I love Guardians and I had to see that movie. But I'm not going to go and see Ant-Man Quantumania like straight away. I'll catch it in a couple of months when it's on demand.
Yeah.
And I can be bothered watching it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not must see anymore. That's what I'm trying to get at.
I think that's a lot of people's opinion. I think just my investment was with Guardians. I adore a lot of the Marvel characters, but I wasn't too into the version of Moon Knight I got, and I need to realise now that's the only version I'll probably have for a while. I'm not hugely into the Secret Wars on paper, so I won't really be massively invested on screen, I don't think. But I still think there's a lot of stuff there for kids that's really exciting.
Yeah.
I'm the same as you. I am just looking for other content. I do almost wish they would stop with the big budgets and just say, here's 20 million, here's John Berenfall, go make a gritty Punisher movie.
Give me Punisher versus Spider-Man.
And show the dynamics between the two in a weird tonal movie. Start experimenting a little more.
I read a comic, I can't remember what it's called, but it was like Punisher versus Spider-Man versus Deadpool. Deadpool wears a meat suit at one point. I don't know if you've read that. It's just so funny and so stupid.
I am kind of up for the weirder stuff now as well. I agree with you. It's fine. It's totally cool. I just wish there was other content alongside it. I want to read a quote from Michelle Rodriguez.
Okay.
I follow
the Lord and Saviour, Michelle Rodriguez.
I follow Michelle Rodriguez. Do you follow the career of Michelle Rodriguez?
I mean, I probably have seen more movies than I care to admit with her in it.
I've got opinions on Michelle Rodriguez.
Resident Evil.
That one, mate. Michelle Rodriguez says, how many Marvel movies can you make? Like, come on guys, at some point we got to get innovative with this and stop with the incest. Not only movies that come from one studio. How many Fast movies is Michelle Rodriguez in?
You know it's bad when Michelle Rodriguez is like, there's too much of this.
Listen, Marvel's doing a bit of damage, but don't you start Michelle Rodriguez. You getting your motor on Cam doing?
I can't believe she said that.
Come on.
However, with that being said, I appreciate that those Fast movies have embraced how daft it is. They know that there's too many of them and they take the piss out of themselves. Whereas Marvel is like ultra serious, like, no, we're Marvel, we can make 100 movies and you will watch them. Whereas Fast movies are kind of like, we're just going to see how far we can go before we get bored.
Marvel is so proud.
Yeah.
They won't allow a lot of their characters to make fun of themselves. The best example would be Thor, who I believe Chris Hemsworth forced that into it because it works better for the character.
Yeah.
But you are totally right. This latest one with Jason Momoa, one of my favourites because he knows what movie he's in.
Have you seen it?
He is a big kid with toys. There is
That's what it looks like in the trailer.
He camps it up in the best way possible.
Yeah.
He is killing people in this.
Yeah.
Gruesomely.
Uh-huh.
There's an actual character we now want to die in the franchise and they won't become their friends and drink bubble
that's what I was about to say. Like, Jason Statham was a murderer and then he's just like, oh, I'm your pal now.
A big character dies in this one. Jason Momoa goes, guess there's one less for the barbecue.
That's a good bad guy.
Rido, he's amazing. Big Jack Reacher's in it as well.
The big hunky guy.
Oh, he's a hunk. Oh, I'd reach.
I've never seen that show.
Reacherin.
I've got
Jack Reacherin.
I'm not going to top that. Yeah, that's what I should end it now. Reacherins.
Eedjit Features returns this Tuesday to regular programming.